Clinton and the congressman who helped us to hopefully get our hands on $25 billion, or a good portion of that. We're going to need it, and it's also it comes at a very important time so that businesses understand that the resources will be there to assist them in rebuilding. They are not by any means on their own. They're in a situation in which we'll be able to do a lot. The state and the city will be able to do a lot to assist them and to help them in the way, for example, in which we together rebuild 42nd Street.
Last night I was at the site when a woman in medical scrubs showed up in an RMP from the 6th Precinct. She was hysterical. She was holding a cell phone. She said that she was on the phone at the time. She had just hung up the phone with her husband, who was a Port Authority cop. She had a name, a shield number. She said that he was down in the hole under Building 1, World Trade Center 1, and he was with 9 other people. She caused an extreme amount of panic at the site. I was there. I witnessed this. I saw it. And it was all fake. There was no husband. There was no phone call. And about 15 minutes ago, Sugeil, S-U-G-E-I-L, Mejia, date of birth is January 20th, 1977, was arrested for reckless endangerment, obstructing fire operations, and false reports. We're also going to see if there's anything we can do to charge her federally for interfering with the operation. This is extremely dangerous. We have thousands of people working at that site. They hear something of that nature. They get hopeful. They get aggressive in their working in the hole. The information travels extremely fast, and it could cause someone to be hurt very, very badly. If this happens, you're going to be arrested. We're not going to tolerate false reporting. We're not going to tolerate people creating hysterics at the site, and it's got to stop. We had a couple incidents also where people got through the frozen zones. In fact, Deputy Commissioner Kerrik from my office last night made 2 arrests. Someone, a retired correction officer, and another person had gotten into Tornos, and they stole about $3,000 worth of watches. They caught them with the watches on them. They were arrested. We had a couple other arrests of people walking around posing as volunteers, attempting to steal or stealing minor items from stores or from the site. Volunteers are welcomed, but as a matter of fact, the fire commissioner is going to talk about volunteers. He just said no more volunteers. We'll talk about that in a second. Outside agencies, we have a number of outside agencies that are working with us, and he'll talk about that. But volunteers from the outside, I think we have enough. We can't supervise the outside volunteers like we can everyone else. I'll let him talk about that in a second. But if you come there for any purpose other than helping rescue or recover things at the scene, you're going to be arrested. And I want to make that clear. And I'll let the fire commissioner go through the volunteer issue.
Like every issue and any kind of tragedy like this, there's a phenomenal group of people that are just, what they've done is just unbelievable. I want to thank the iron workers, the welders, the heavy construction people. The job that they're doing, assisting us down at the scene, I can't say enough. They're risking their lives in a lot of dangerous situations. We had to move a lot of them out this morning because of the lightning. The winds caused some glass to be blowing out of some of the buildings that are in different states of disrepair. that are in good shape, structurally, but in bad shape as far as some dangerous kinds of situations. So those people down there are doing a phenomenal job. The volunteer firefighters that came to help us in general, unbelievable, really terrific. We now have got to get control back of this scene. We think we can do it much more efficiently with our own people, so we will not look for any help from any outsiders anymore. I would caution the people in the press to, with the outsiders and the volunteers, we'll ask you to come back maybe in a week, 2 weeks. We'll see what happens. But right now we want to use the USAR teams that we've got and our own people because we have better control. We know their skills. We know their abilities. We know they know the chain of command. They know who to listen to, and we'll be able to do the job more efficiently. The other side of the reporters on the scene talking to people who represent themselves as firefighters or from the New York City Fire Department, it's just not acceptable. It's causing dangerous situations for my people, for the police officers, for anybody else down there. Because somebody has a coat on with a yellow stripe and it's black, you should not assume that that person is speaking for the New York City Fire Department. I'm telling my people right now, no more interviews. It's not helpful. It's not the way to go. You're not doing your brother firefighters or anybody else at the scene any good by giving out information that you might mean well, but it's not accurate. That information should be cleared through the incident commander on the scene. It'll come from our press guy. You're not doing us any good speaking to the press about some of the things that are going on at the scene. We're not trying to keep information from getting out. We want you to be aware of some of the heroism that's going on down there. But the misinformation, the information that's given out too soon is dangerous to my people, and I want it to stop.
In a quarter of a century, I've never seen all of the council members stand and applaud the mayor, the governor, the crisis management team that they've assembled, as I saw yesterday. And I'm sure they speak for all the people of the city of New York. Probably the greatest crisis since Pearl Harbor. And I can't imagine better rescue efforts, the police department, the fire department, Office of Emergency Services. And I think that's what we all have to concentrate on, getting accurate information out and saving lives. I think there's still a possibility of doing that. Where there's life, there's hope. And I can't imagine better people than what you see standing around you and the officers and dedicated volunteers dedicated to that purpose. So I would just have faith and listen to the only accurate words that are coming from here.
Questions?
Barry, can you tell us what happened at the airport specifically? How many people were detained? For how long were they detained? What were the reasons for the detention?
They were detained for a number of hours, but I would be quick to point out that they were cooperative with law enforcement. Again, it's primarily just Soundex type names that have been furnished around the country that we are getting some hits on. Other than that, as one quick example is that, as I mentioned, is some people did want to exchange tickets. It was unclear to the people at the ticketing agency as to what was going on, so we were called in to assist in that particular regard. There was one report while I'm up here that there's a number of witnesses that said that people were taken forcibly off a plane. I cannot verify that at this particular point. I'm trying to run that down. Supposedly there's a number of credible witnesses that saw that happen. It has not been reported to either the commissioner's command post or my command post. We're trying to get to the bottom of that. Again, this is going to continue to happen. We are talking to all of the security departments of the airlines and requesting that they do contact us if there's any question.
Two-part question.
Is it correct that one of the
that have been called?
false ID as a pilot, and is he the one still being held?
Again, it's, as I mentioned earlier, this criminal investigation. I'm not going to get into the details. All I will tell you is there is one individual that was detained. He is still with us. He's voluntarily with us. We're continuing to run out a lot of things. Subsequently, there may be charges. I'm not sure at this point, or he may be released.
What about Newark Airport?
That have been called in. You mentioned that this was disruptive to the Joint Terrorism Task Force. Any indication that this might be purposely done, that there might be a pattern here to do this purposely?
I don't think there's a particular pattern. Usually these are hoaxes, people that are, for whatever reasons, there's nothing to it other than they decide to call it in, but it is very disruptive to us.
We understand that. A report there were a number of unusual coincidences together that led to some of these detentions. Can you tell us anything about that?
Well, they're not necessarily tied. Again, the airports were closed. When they reopen, and it's being, again, everybody is being overcautious, if you would, and rightfully so. However, when they initially opened a lot of the international flights, there was some confusion. A lot of these came in at the same time. They continued through the night. I'm sure they're going to continue through the next several days. We'll respond to them, try and clear them up as quickly as we can.
We understand that the Marriott in New Jersey at the airport was searched by FBI agents. Is that true? And if so, did you find anything?
I'm not speaking for the other districts. That should come out of Washington. Essentially, I can tell you what's going on here in New York. There is activity, obviously, throughout the country. Every FBI office is involved. They are involved with their local police departments. All of the major cities have joint terrorism task forces. So we have here with the commissioner, we have everybody in one place. We're trying to pull all of the information together and coordinate it. There is some circular reporting in the media, but there's also circular reporting with law enforcement. Things are going around and coming back, things that we thought had been previously cleared up. So there is a time lag. We in New York have been particularly hampered because we are out of our respective offices. We do not have the support systems that we're used to. Up until late last night, I did not have my databases. So again, we're relying on shaky phone calls or intermittent phone calls and service. We're just not as up as we normally are. We're hoping to put that back together very quickly.
Mayor, was the city able to open corridors to the financial district like you're talking about yesterday? And if so, which ones are they?
I'll have to tell you exactly which ones. I just saw it on a map, but I can't remember exactly the street that was opened. I think Water Street, coming around Water Street and then over to Wall is the way that you could get in. There's one other corridor that's open so that you can get down to Wall Street. We cleaned up a good deal of Wall Street so that if you have to go down there to start to get your business open, maybe over the weekend or Monday, you can get down there. It's not. I think there are only two ways down. Water Street is one, and I'll get you the other one. What we're going to try to do today, one of our goals for today, is to try to get that entire area, as much of it open as possible, and see if we can have that available for Monday. I can't promise that we can get all of it open, but the goal is going to try to get as much open east of Broadway as possible, right down to the Battery. And I think we'll be able to get most of it open for Monday. And we'd ask the businesses down there to start thinking about, and we'll announce this later today, if we are going to open it for Monday, we'll try to get it open for over the weekend so they can come in, look at their buildings, make sure that they get them cleaned up, and we'll help them with that. We'll have people down there. We'd like to get as much of Wall Street back in operation on Monday as we possibly can.
Mayor, will that structural integrity of the buildings, because there's been some conflicting information about that?
There has been. Well, that conflicting information is understandable. First of all, the structural integrity of the buildings is consistently tested. It was tested yesterday, and at this point, the reports that we get back are that the buildings, I think you're thinking of the Millennium Hotel and One Liberty Plaza, that those buildings are not unsound. They have damage. They're dangerous because they have windows that are broken and things that can fall off them. But right now, there's no reason to believe that they're going to fall down, if that's the issue. The second thing that the MTA did is they ran trains yesterday afternoon and evening under the buildings and then tested them for vibration and found no unnecessary level of vibration as a result of that. So they've been tested two ways. The effect that the trains going underneath them would have, it appears as if it would have no effect, and then structural integrity. We have to continue to do that because all of the work that's being done there creates its own issues, so you have to keep testing those buildings. But right now, they seem okay.
Mayor, any word when Battery Park City will be open, the people who live there?
We're going to also take a look at how much of Battery Park City we can open. I don't know yet. We'll probably know that later today. We're going to see.
People could be moving back into their apartment.
I don't have a sense yet. It really depends on how we can